Good morning, world. How we doing today? This is the 5th Ward Wildcat, and we're coming to you with another podcast. And I'm sitting across my road dog, compadre. Whom are you, sir?
This is KG, and you're listening to KG and the 5th Wildcat podcast. Thank you again for listening. This is a few days after our last podcast. We're doing things a little bit differently here. We're probably going to have a second one later on this week, but Wildcat, do your thing, sir.
All right, let's give a little wrap-up on these football scores over the weekend. Conference USA. Rice pulled out a win over
UTEP.
Over UTEP. It was nail biter, and U of H pulled out one this past weekend. They're now at Tulane. They're at Tulane on Thursday. This weekend scores were U of H 56, UAB 13, Southern Miss 48, South East Carolina 28, SMU 45, Tulane 24, Rice 41, UTEP 37, and Tulsa was 24 over UCF 17. Folks, it was a good day. TSU won at home. They beat a good team from Southern Jaguars. They tell me that's the third year in a row. Prairie View went down to Texas State and lost one on I'm not going to say how they lost, but they lost. And I would leave it like that. I was told that's just to answer that away.
What were you told, sir?
I was told don't mention what the score.
Were you told that some strange things happened?
Some strange things happened on the road this past weekend.
34-26, they lost to Texas State.
Well,
it's a loss. Not as bad as me. You're 4-5 now overall.
But they're still in the running for the SWAC Western
Division. Yep, they're tied with 4-3.
And also, basketball started this past weekend, and I'm gonna tell you, folks, we are so happy about that because
let's have church again. Church say amen.
Folks, does the KG does he sound like he's happy about college basketball? He went to an exhibition game last night. What happened, sir?
I was at Hoffman, Pennsylvania, and watching the new Houston Cougars play the.
How new are they?
New St. Thomas. Is it Celts or Celts, sir?
Celts.
St. Thomas Celts. This is their second game of their program. And before the game, I found out that senior guard for the Cougars, Porch Landry, was not going to play due to health injuries. Her status for the home opener on Friday, November 11th, versus New Mexico State is day-to-day, so it's still uncertain if she's going to play or not to be able to play, be cleared to play. We'll find out about that later on in the week. It was a different game, you know. Porsche is the Cougars' point guard. She's an Indian. She makes everything go. Without her, they really don't have a true point guard to back her up, and that showed, especially in the first part of the game versus the Celts. The Cougars turned the ball over 4 times in the first 4 minutes of the game. They trailed 7-0. Gave the Celt fans reason to cheer, thinking that a miracle would happen, and this might be their chance for a victory. Roxanne Button hit a basket, then Tasha Tubbs hit a basket for the Cougars. The Cougars started on a run. Led by only 11 points at halftime. Ended up winning by 24, 65-41. It was an ugly game, Wildcat. It was ugly. It was 100 rebounds total in the game.
That's what I was going to ask you. How was the rebound situation?
The Cougars trailed rebounding by 3 at halftime. Coach Ty Buchanan, according to Roxanne Button, lit into them at halftime. Coach Buchanan questioned them. He challenged them at halftime to do a better job on the boards. They did do a better job. I rebounded. Killed by about 17 in the second half. They won the board battle. I want to commend a few players among the freshmen for the Cougars. One who I've touted in a previous podcast, Taryn Alford, freshman, homeschooled young lady. She only played basketball that's going on about 3 or 4 years, so she's still a raw player when it comes to basketball knowledge and basketball IQ. But she got 9.7 rebounds in only 20 minutes of action. So you can just see the potential there for her. Amanda Lawson started at a forward spot for the Cougars. She had 7 points, 9 rebounds in 30 minutes of action. She surprised me a little bit. I think she could be one of the key pieces to helping the Cougars be not as bad as I feared in previous podcasts. She's quicker. She's wearing a knee brace, and I'm waiting to get confirmation on it. I've heard that she tore her ACL 3 years ago.
Wow.
But she's still wearing a knee brace for almost like a security blanket kind of thing. And I think she got a new brace than what I've seen in practice that she wore in the game Monday night. And it seems to have helped her not be as stiff. I touched on some of the Cougars did not seem flexible in practice. She was much quicker last night in the game. So hopefully that new brace helps her out. We'll see how things go. Wildcat and myself will miss the home opener at Hawthorne on the 11th because we'll be on the hill.
Yes.
Watching Prairie View and Rice women's basketball. We missed it a few times last week. I'll miss it again today, November 11th, 7 p.m. on the hill. Rice women at Prairie View. PVB Rice last season. So Rice going to try to get a little redemption. I won't call it revenge, I'll call it redemption. See if they can bounce back, win a road opener to start their season. Prairie View trying to protect home. So we'll see how things go. I haven't seen Prairie View practice, but I know based on what Coach Toyelle Wilson, her style of play, she likes to get after it. With pressure defense and run the floor and score in transition. And the Owls, we've seen practices a few times. We know the Owls have not been as physical in the past, but we think this new group will be physical and be tough and be able to handle more physical opponents. We'll see how that goes on Friday, 7 p.m. on the hill, Rice and PV. Somebody's going to be 1-0. Somebody will have some bragging rights in the city. So we'll see how that all plays out. Tuesday night, tonight, at Hawthorne's, U of H men will be in action in what we call is it right to call them exhibition games or preseason games? What do you prefer?
This week, from what I've been told in the past, that they are exhibition games until I think this until Monday. I think that's when the exhibition will pretty much be to the side because that's when they also start the is it 24-hour
tip-off? ESPN's tip-off, 24-hour tip-off madness, whatever you want to call it, event starts Monday for us.
Yeah.
November 14th when the season starts for the men. Women's action, as we know, talking about Rice PV starts on Friday the 11th.
Right.
So I'm cool with exhibition. To me, they're exhibition games because they don't count. So preseason,
and you pretty much playing anybody,
right?
Division 3, Division 2, NAIA, and you can list it as such. Also, at least we not forget, Texas Southern Women also has their opener on Friday
morning, 11 o'clock. H&P Arena versus Norfolk State. It's for simple terms. It's like a kids' day.
Right. On campus.
A lot of kids on campus from the elementary, even some middle school, I think, will be in attendance. It's going to be a lot of loud, screaming children, piercing eardrums, and it's going to, it's good to see the arena filled with people, but it gets a little bit annoying to hear all the kids screaming and everything because we're getting old. So, maybe this can take all the youth and kids screaming. But good luck because we'll be at the game.
Yeah.
We'll see how TSU plays against Norfolk State. Both teams were picked preseason-wise not to do as well in their respective conferences. So we'll see how the game goes this Friday on the 11th at 11. So Wildcat and myself have a full day on the 11th. We'll be at H&P for one game. Then in a few hours later, we'll be on the hill for another basketball game, women's basketball, because that's probably our main focus of college basketball in terms of men or women. But U of H men Tuesday night play at Concordia at Hawthorne Pavilion. We had a brief chat with Coach James Dickey for the Cougars last night. He and the men's team were supporting the women during their game.
That's a good thing.
It is. It was good to see the entire team there supporting their sisters. And I asked Coach Dickey about their opponent tonight, and he said they expect a lot of pressure full-court defense from Concordia. And he was curious to see how well his guys handle the full court pressure. So get your tickets. I know the weather's kind of bad right now on election day, so go vote.
Yeah.
We're not here to tell you who to vote for, what to vote for. Just go vote. Do your civic duty and go vote.
There you go. HBU's had a exhibition game this past weekend.
On the men's side, and
on the men's side,
they beat the fellas win or lose. Fellas lost.
Won.
No, the fellas lost.
Oh, that's right. They lost. That's right. 4-16.
Right.
And they missed the big quarter era scoring and rebounding by Gonzalez.
Andrew Gonzalez, yeah.
Andrew Gonzalez graduated last year.
Mr. HBU. He was
He's Mr. Husky.
He was it for them for the last few years.
He did everything except, well, I take that back. A couple of games, he did sell popcorn and all to the women's games and all. He upped that in the concession stand. He's a fully bridge all-around guy.
So, thank you once again for listening. As always, this is KG and the Fifth Ward Wildcat doing a podcast, probably the first of 2 this week. And
basketball season is upon us.
That's because basketball season is here.
You folks,
we're going to be in full swing. We got some things in the works, hopefully that we may be able to announce in the future.
Hopefully, a couple of road podcasts.
Hopefully that as well.
Early in the season.
And one other thing that we won't even touch on, but hopefully I'll be smiling from year to year if it ever comes. If it happens, and if it does happen, trust me, people, you will know, because I will let everybody else know that I helped get it done. What's on your brain, sir? What else you want to talk about?
Oh, there's a we just mentioned in passing, Joe Frazier, great boxer.
Smoking Joe Frazier passed away at age 67. I did not get a chance to meet him. Obviously, I'm not as old as him, but growing up as a boxing fan, a big boxing fan, knew and saw a lot about Smoking Joe, his battles, his epic battles with Muhammad Ali, his style of fighting, his way he carried himself outside the ring. He was a class guy, so condolences to Smoking Joe's family, his friends, the people whose lives he touched. Prayers and condolences to all of you, and may he rest in peace. So, what are your thoughts? You're a bit closer generational-wise to him, so just give me your thoughts on share some thoughts with him.
15 rounds. When boxing was 15 rounds. That's the best way I can explain it. He had 3 epic battles with Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay. The first one was under the name of Cassius Clay, and he was the
that left hook that he landed on Muhammad Ali.
And my goodness,
one of the most textbook left hooks.
Talk about exploding punches. It's like George with that big right hand of his would break you to your knees.
And to Ali's credit, that was in the 15th round.
Yes,
he got up. He got up because seeing footage of it, I thought he was knocked clean out, but he got up. He lost the unanimous decision to Joe Frazier, Joe's heavyweight champion. But
he knew then.
It's just left hooks.
He knew then he was in for a fight the rest of his life, and as long as those 2 guys were in the ring. And this is and we're gonna end on this one. The Thriller in Manila, that told you just how much these guys had animosity toward each other in the ring. You go 15 rounds past the age of 30. As folks say, past humidity in Africa. I'm sorry, in the Philippines. I'm sorry. And you get up off the canvas. You work your butt off past the age of 30, and you get into the ring. And when some of the pundits said, "You 2 guys are too old to be out here doing this. This is a young man's game." Nobody on the heavyweight division, and then we talking about real heavyweights, guys that was like 6 feet or bigger, weighing almost 250, 240.
Then those were heavyweights. Now those are cruiserweights. You look at the ClutchCity brothers who are 6'7" and 260, 270, whatever they are. They're giants compared to heavyweights of that era.
Now, with that being said, and because we don't want to dwell too much on that today, because when our second podcast, we'll have time to discuss it all, because by that time, women and men's basketball will get going. We'll have our polls together and all, and have it out individually how we're looking at this season and to start out and to finish. But these heavyweights that's now, Dr. KG,
heavyweight. We don't even have any American heavyweight. Damn.
And somebody mentioned that last night. Do you know? Could you actually say who is the heavyweight champion and when was the last American being a heavyweight champion? And one guy, you know what? He said he hadn't watched a real boxing match in person since Holyfield and Tyson.
And Holyfield's still fighting for some unknown reason. That's another story. That's another story. That is another story. I'm concerned for his health.
Yeah.
truthfully.
Because you and I both know he really doesn't need the money. He shouldn't. It's about glory right now, and
he still wants to retire as heavyweight champion. And okay, Holy, good luck to you. I don't see that. But let's talk about this thing that I really don't. I'm tired of talking about it. It's the NBA lockout.
Yeah. Okay. Now, before you get too far into this, do you think the deadline that was put on the table by the commissioner, do you think it's going to hold true?
The ultimatum?
Yeah.
No. Commissioner Stern issued an ultimatum over the weekend, basically Saturday. They met for hours on Saturday, and after that, they met with the mediator, Mr. George Cohen, and apparently he proposed 6 proposals, and the owners agreed to 5 of them. And Commissioner Stern's viewpoint, that became their new agreement that they wanted the players to accept or not accept, or he preferred them to accept it. And part of that was 50-50 split, but with a band of 49-51, if basketball-related income, if the NBA did well, the players could ultimately receive 51% of basketball-related income. If things did not go as well, then they'll go down to 49%. Players did not want that. Players not accept it. So Commissioner Stern said basically, take it or leave it. You have until Wednesday, close the business on Wednesday, which is November 9th, to accept it. If not, if you don't accept it, then our new offer will be rollbacks of 47% and the flex cap, which is what they proposed back in July, and which the players shot down in July. So that is the ultimatum.
No revenue sharing amongst the owners?
No, all those things will be there, but Howard Beck of New York Times, who's done an outstanding job,
he's only
covering the rhetoric and the BS of the NBA lockout.
Has to be camping out.
He and Ken Berg and a lot of other colleagues have been camping out, and Sam Amick and all those guys, Adrian Wojnarowski with Yahoo Sports, all of them have done a great job. Howard Beck has. And I linked this on my Facebook page, some of the details of the ultimatum, and some of them are just interesting, because I wrote a commentary on Sunday that there's a lot of talk of decertification about the players decertifying the union and seeing it as their last bit of leverage, which will force the owners to negotiate better in good faith. Cherry November. They should have, if they were going to be certified, they should have done it in July, at the beginning of the process. Now it's too late.
Now, I'm going to say this also. I don't think they actually have a grasp of what that word means and what that means to the union and what that will do for going forward. Because
I agree with that.
If you're doing this now, that means you didn't have an understanding then, and you still don't have one now. It's just a word that you done thrown out there.
And one of the reasons, there were some players and the big-time agents back in July, that's what they wanted to do. That's the route they wanted to go. But Billy Hunter, the executive director of the Players Association, didn't want to do that. He preferred that they file a case with the National Labor Relations Board and then hope that the NLRB would rule in their favor and declare the lockout illegal. That was in July. It's November. The National Labor Relations Board still has not made a decision and determination on that. So, based on that, you can tell that's 4 months ago. If the players first vote to decide to decertify, that's one thing. Then they have to go. That goes to the NLRB. Then the NLRB has to say, okay, you guys may vote to decertify. So, first the players have to have 30% of the players have to agree to a vote to decertify. To decide to decertify, and then they have to have a majority decide that they will indeed decertify. So all that process will take a good long of time in a 45-day window before the NLRB were to decide to declare that the players had enough and they could decertify. The players apparently believe that during that 45-day period, the owners will return to the bargaining table, and say, hey, let's get back and talk, and we will give, and hopefully the players will get a better deal. Other thing I wrote about in my commentary: if the owners have not given you any reason to think they're going to negotiate better and give you a fairer deal now, why are they going to give you a fairer deal with the threat of decertification looming? And I just wrote there a whole bunch of players now. Chauncey Billups said he was willing to give up his $14 million salary. All these things that they're fighting on principles. I said it last week, Jerry. Wildcat. A reduced paycheck is better than no check. That's the bottom line.
We have a friend that says cash is always on time.
Always. So and owners have all the leverage. Decertification would have been a thing to do months ago. It's too late now. If it does happen and owners don't even blink, then the season will be canceled. There are players, Steve Blake for one, Monday spoke out. He wants the Players Association to put it to a vote to see how many players are willing to vote for decertification, and then we'll go from there. He wants to just to put it to a vote. That's what he wants. He doesn't want the executive board for the players to find out, turn the owner's proposal down. He doesn't want that. He wants them to put it to a vote, allow the players to decide to decertify or not. So that's where we are, because the players, the player representatives, team representatives for the players are meeting today to decide which way they want to go. Matt Bonner's one representative for the Spurs, saying that the negotiations on Saturday sucked. So today's meeting, they're going to discuss all possible options, one of which includes decertification. It's all up in the air. There are some owners who think Commissioner Stern is being too soft, giving them 50-50. There's not one particular Michael Jordan, and there's not a majority of owners who agree with that. So that's a problem. There's division on both sides. There's division on the player side, there's division on the owner side.
Now, my question is, why all of a sudden now, this late in the process, you finally get a division on the owner side when there's always been one. I mean, it just hasn't become. It was never public. No, I'm talking about to where you've got to the point now where you're actually doing infighting, and one person's name is starting to step to the.
For the reason they talk about, it's assumptions on some part, speculation. The reason Michael Jordan's Michael Jordan's name been tossed out now, especially being a hawkish owner, and he's standing firm and doesn't want to give more than 50-50 to the players, it's because he's Michael Jordan. David Stern and owners must assume that the players will look at Michael Jordan, see his name Michael Jordan, and see where he stands, and see that he's not willing to back down from 50-50, and they'll blink. And they'll accept the deal, and we'll have basketball starting in December. That's the reason why Michael Jordan's name has come out there. Michael Jordan been called a sellout. He's been called a hypocrite. Some players I've seen. He's the owner now. He's not a player. There's some players say they'll never wear his tennis shoes and his product again. Fine, we'll put them away in mouth. We'll see what happens, in the future, how that goes. It's all in a state of flux. Hopefully, a deal will be reached as soon as possible, because the NBA is my bailiwick. I love women's basketball. I love going to the women's Final Four, but there's nothing like the NBA for me personally. However, saying all that, if they don't get a deal done, the season is canceled, I will move on. I will steer my focus into college basketball and be a handicapper and keep on rolling.
I'm gonna tell you, folks, he ain't joking. And me myself, I love college sports. I mean,
because you are the college sports reporter. And speaking of which, thanks for that segue. Where can folks find you?
Well, you can find the college sports reporter. They can find me at www.kingsizeview.com. Hit that front page and hit that hotkey with my mug on the front that says CSR. And you go to my blog, and my Twitter handle is #AKSV_CSR. Your Twitter set?
My Twitter, what is it? Twitter handle, hashtag, whatever. See, we're still new to all this, folks. We're not experts on
we're evolving.
Exactly, we evolve with the times. Is THEHR Review. Once again, that's THEHR Review. And since we're going to have another podcast in a few days later on this week, I'm not going to get into details about it, get into specifics, but just want to say we talked about the Cougars having an exhibition game on Tuesday night for the men. Their home opener is Saturday at home at Hawthorne versus Grambling State.
Right.
The Rice men home opener is also Saturday night, first in New Orleans.
Right.
I hate when Rice and UH play basketball on the same night and same.
But in Houston, to also mention that before you get too far from that the conference this year took scheduling into thought and did what, sir?
And I look at the fellas' side of it. I look at the women's side. It seems like there may be only one game where UH and Rice are both playing at home at the same time. And I think that, most of the time, they're not even playing at home at the same time. Right. If UH is at home, Rice is on the road, and vice versa. I think that's great. That allows both you and I to see both teams play. And that should, in a small sense, allow fans of both teams to go see each team playing, maybe that'll boost the attendance for each program, which is great. And, so it doesn't split up the fan base, it doesn't split up the media coverage, so I think that's great. And it also negates I think, a potential advantage for the visiting team who comes to town, stay at one hotel for three days.
Right.
So that eliminates that as an advantage for the opponents. So it's win-win for everybody, that's in my personal opinion. We'll see how that works out. As we said, 7 p.m. on November 11th, Friday, Rice women at Prairie View. 7 p.m. Friday here at Hawthorne. U of H women host Mexico State. I'm going to miss it. It's going to be a butt whipping, but I'm going to miss it anyway. Well, maybe not. Let me backtrack there. 7 p.m. in Waco. Baylor Bears, TSU men. Coach Harvey, new contract. He's got a talented team there. I'm not saying as good as Perry Jones and that crew up there for the Baylor Bears, for Coach Drew and Coach Chang and crew. But they played better tough last season. So we'll see what they can do again this season. But personally, TSU, they won the SWAC regular season last year. They flamed out in the SWAC Conference Championship. They got to get to the tournament. And they had too many games last season where they played down to left competition. Right. They kind of just went through the motions. I think they could just allow a team to get out far front and then turn it on at the end, and it burned them too many times. So they need to end that.
They got to finish game.
You got to finish game. You got to finish the nutshell. You got to finish game.
Guard play is a part of that, and this year we'll get a chance to see if that got corrected.
And should I say it? Should I say it about the game that we have not heard anything about?
No.
Okay.
Because if you don't send any information to the NC2A's statistician, it must not happen, Lance. It must not have happened. So what you want to talk about? Yeah, and we're not going to get into details about a major scandal taking place with Penn State University. We know about it. Obviously, we know about it. We have opinions on it. But until more details come out and more facts come out, there are things that we've seen and read so far. I have a personal opinion that I'm going to just say for myself. It's going to be a whole new regime at Penn State. A whole lot of folks may have done the legal thing, they didn't do the moral thing. And that's where we are. Because morally, it's just all wrong on any level. You should always, as an adult, you should protect children.
Exactly.
It's just that plain and simple. And I'm going to let it go at that because, like KG, if I get into this, we talk about a whole podcast of just that alone. Because I just think it's all wrong, and everybody involved, from the president of the university on down, should be let go. Literally.
Now let's end on a positive note. If you have something else you want to add.
No, sir. I'm done.
You want to talk about anything basketball-wise? You want anything?
I tell you, I do have a positive note. San Jack Lady Ravens women's volleyball is headed off to the JUCO Nationals in New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken. But they are headed off to looking to bring home another NC2A championship.
What is it? NJCA or whatever it is, right? Isn't it something different?
Yes, NJCAA, Division 1.
All right, and hopefully next podcast we'll have some type of resolution. Early this morning, on Tuesday morning, I saw some of the NBA guys thinking that a deal will be done within the next 36 hours. Hopefully something is done. Hopefully you have a resolution. I'm tired of talking about lockouts and basketball-related income. I want to talk about basketballs going into buckets and fouls being committed and hard fouls and get some technical talk about why somebody didn't run the play right or something on the court. Oh, let's touch one more thing. Let's touch on this. Wrap it up. Our good buddy, mentor, John Lucas, is having a Houston Celebrity Basketball Classic the Houston Lockout Celebrity Basketball Classic, right, November 20th at Del Mar Stadium Complex, right, at 5 p.m. and doors open at 3 p.m. The proceeds will go to John Lucas charities as well as local charities, and the celebrities. Folks, we're talking about stars like Blake Griffin is scheduled to appear in playing the game. TJ Ford,
If nothing else, you need to come watch Jake Blake play.
And the tickets go on sale Wednesday. They're having a press conference on Wednesday. Wildcat and myself will be elsewhere, and you have to visit our individual websites to find out where, but it does pertain to the Houston area. Some other players slated to appear in the charity game: Kevin Durant, Chandler Parson with the Rockets, Johnny Flynn with the Rockets. Well, I forgot they were on the Rockets. It's been so long. Oh, and one more thing. I didn't see much about it locally, but the Rockets did a press release Monday, starting Wednesday. I think it's going to be a weekly thing every Wednesday on Fox Sports Houston. They're going to air the ClutchCity Classics, a few games of the biggest games in Rockets lore, playoff victories, championship games.
Ralph Sampson turnaround?
No, because that wasn't. Well, that's a good question. That may be because I think the games will go on as long as there's a lockout.
Because the only ones they can show are what?
Because
guys that are not in the system right now.
No, I don't think that applies. But that is a good question, though, because some of the games, I think Wednesday's game of November 9th, the game will be versus the Phoenix Suns, Western Conference semifinal. Mario Elie, the kiss of death, on the 16th.
Nobody on that crew is still playing.
See, that's it. But you bring up a good point. Actually, when I think about it, I mean, well, Rockets haven't had any playoff success since 97, 95 anyhow, so all these games are over. Anyway, so I think they'd be okay. November 16th, game 1, when Akeem shows everybody who the true MVP should have been, and he destroyed David Robinson.
I can watch that over and over again.
And November 23rd and November 30th, game 6 on the 23rd, game 6, Rockets are beating the Knicks in the NBA Finals, and then game 7, Rockets win the championship, first championship in Rockets history. So next 4 Wednesdays in November will be ClutchCity Classics on Fox Sports Houston. So there's a few different things that we try to give you, a little bit of information try to give you, and we'll give you more details later on. And at some point, hopefully by the end of this month, we'll start taking questions on my Facebook page, or you can probably email us, what have you. So thank you as always for listening. My website is HoustonRoundballReview.com. Yes, sir.
And least I forget, we are both located on YouTube. We both have YouTube pages now. My YouTube page, is AKSVDCSR YouTube.
And mine is Houston Roundball. So, hey, we're on Twitter, we're on YouTube, we have websites, blogs, etc. So we're trying to do a little bit of everything. And you don't mind my saying, sir, we have no problem. We're very willing to talk to anyone who's willing to sponsor the podcast, sponsor our YouTube channel, sponsor us. And because we have plans, big things, and we already, both of us are very confident. There's never a guarantee in life, but we are very confident we will be in Denver covering the Women's Final Four in April.
We just got our
it's not 100%, but I feel pretty sure.
Yep. I put it to you like this, folks. We've both gotten a great to hear from you.
Yes. So, we have a lot of different opportunities and games that we're going to be covering this basketball season. Thank goodness it's here. Thank you as always for listening. Tell your friends about the KT and Fifth Wildcat podcast. And in conclusion, be true, be cool, and do more.